able to find it. And then that doesn't count the fact that you have J.K. Dobbins, who today could pass Ezekiel Elliott on Ohio State's all-time rushing list. You still have Justin Fields to deal with. You still have his armada of receivers, led by K.J. Hill and Benjamin Victor and Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson and Austin Mack. And, all these guys, I don't know how they match up, at all. Ohio State, when you break it down position by position, and this doesn't come from me as an Ohio State fan, this comes from Joel Klatt, who in my opinion is the best game analyst in college football today. Joel Klatt said, he goes, it is a tall task for Michigan because I see Ohio State better at every position group on the field. All of them. So it would literally be a humongous upset, even with it being the game. I just don't see how it happens.
We're talking with Adam Jividen, Super Buckeye fan and Super Browns fan. We're getting ready to go into our NFL conversation here in just a moment. So let's talk a little bit about your Browns. What are your thoughts on where we're at? And, of course, got another good win last week. But we're moving into thoughts and talks about possible playoff situations. I don't know that the Browns have it in the can to be able to make it to the playoffs. What are your thoughts?
Buffalo's got a really tough schedule, but after winning yesterday, they look really tough. I think we've lost too many games early in the season that we could have won. But I think if they finish, let's just say 9-7, I actually predicted them at the start of the season to finish about 9-7 or 10-6. I don't think anybody saw this Baltimore explosion coming. So, if they finish 9-7, will I be happy? Kind of. But I also will have known that we left a lot of games on the schedule that we could have won. And so it'll be that kind of dissatisfaction.
Joining us now also is Mo from the BS Sports Show. Mo, happy Thanksgiving weekend to you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know that it's kind of been a struggle. I hope everything's working out for you. Also joining us is Adam Jividen, a Super Browns fan. And Mo, I know you cover the Browns, but we were also talking a little bit about this big Ohio State and Michigan matchup. What are your thoughts?
Well, you look at this game today, obviously it's huge for both teams. Ohio State's number one, and Ryan Day's looking for his first win over Michigan. And for Jim Harbaugh, he's looking for his first win over Ohio State since he's been the head coach of Michigan. One win in this decade for the Michigan Wolverines against Ohio State, so it's been a pretty lopsided, one-sided affair. So it's in the big house today. Remember last year this time we were talking about, Michigan going in and being ready to dominate Ohio State as they were the higher-ranked team, and Ohio State just took it to Michigan. So it'll be interesting to see what happens today. They're also going to need a big game from Shea Patterson. Michigan will, if they're going to hope to win this football game. And it'll be nice to see, Ohio State finally face some competition. We've had all this talk about they're the best team in college football, but they've really, other than, Wisconsin and Penn State, played nobody. So it'll be interesting to see what happens today at noon.
Joining us now, also Ed Kracz, beat writer for the Philadelphia Eagles, SI.com, and our official NFL contributor. Happy Thanksgiving weekend to you, Ed.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Did you?
Great weekend.
You have plenty of leftovers left over?
Not really. Not as many as I normally like to have. But my daughter's having some friends over today, and they're cooking up another turkey, so I'm going to get some of their leftovers later.
There you go. I tell you what, there's nothing better than a leftover turkey sandwich. On the horn with us also is Adam Jividen, Super Browns fan and Super Buckeyes fan. We're talking about a little bit about the Browns and the Ohio State-Michigan matchup. Do you have any thoughts on that today, sir? And, we look back at Penn State. Penn State is still in the mix. It's still on the hunt. But Ed, what are your thoughts? Talk a little college football with us, but Penn State, but the big game today, Ohio State is at Michigan.
Yeah, I just don't see Michigan having enough to win that game. I do think Ohio State is one of the best 4 teams in the country, probably the top 3 anyway. Michigan got hammered by Notre Dame. They lost to Penn State. I just don't see any way they can beat Ohio State. I really don't. I know it's a big rivalry, and they haven't had a whole lot of luck against Ohio State, but I just think Ohio State's probably going to win, and I think they'd win big today. I know Penn State gave them a little bit of a run last week, but I watched some of that game, Penn State, Ohio State, and even after Penn State cut it to, I think it was 21-17 or something like that, I just didn't feel like they had enough to win that game. So I think it was a good test for Ohio State. It was really one of their closer games of the year, and but they came out of it in flying colors. So I think they're going to make a statement, to be honest, against Michigan today.
All right, guys, let's walk around the horn here with the NFL. We'll kind of take our games individually. Mo and Adam, you can kind of share the same game. We'll go back to you, Adam, and you share a rivalry with our mutual friend of Kyle Courtney, Super Steelers fan, this weekend. I tell you what, this is a big win. This is a must-win for the Cleveland Browns and a big win for the Pittsburgh Steelers. What are your thoughts as you talk about the Browns going on the road to the Steel City, sir?
I think the Browns this week, I hate Pittsburgh so much. And I think everybody that's from North or Central and North Central Ohio agrees with me. But I just don't see how Pittsburgh can do it. They're injured at like every position. And they're starting Devlin Hodges for crying out loud. I think the Browns in what's going to be a tightly officiated game, considering what happened a couple weeks ago, as well as then just a lot of injuries on Pittsburgh's front. I don't see how it happens. I think the Browns win a close, ugly game and keep their slim heartbeat of a playoff shot alive.
Mo, what are your thoughts? I know you covered the Browns as well, the Browns and the Steelers.
Well, I mean, like he said, it's obviously, it's a must-win for the Browns, but, you want to see this offense continue to click. You want to see, I think, Jarvis Landry is still, involved. He was, kind of a ghost at the beginning of the season, so he's been involved a lot more the last few weeks. You want to see this defense come out and step up, again, with no Myles Garrett. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens in this game. Pittsburgh obviously looking for some retribution, but I don't know that the Browns defense will have that much of a chance to go at Mason Rudolph. So we'll see. It should be a fun game. Cleveland goes into Pittsburgh and hopefully comes out with a win.
Ed, let's talk a little bit about, first of all, Thursday's games, but most importantly, I want to talk about the team that you probably enjoyed seeing lose the most over the weekend was the Cowboys losing to Buffalo. One, I don't think anybody saw that happening, but two, the bigger question is, we're now officially putting Jason Garrett back on the hot seat, but for whatever reason, JJ has been able to keep him alive. I don't know, as Tony said earlier, I don't know if Jason's got some nude photos that he's holding and blackmail in the closet or something, but he just seems to always escape the ultimate end to his career there at Dallas. What are your thoughts about that game, and where does this leave us with Jason Garrett?
Well, I think, the Cowboys are going to have to kind of get on sort of a historic run to save Jason Garrett's job. I think they need to get to the playoffs, but I think they need to win some games in the playoffs once they get there, if they get there. Otherwise, Garrett's gone. It's been 10 years, and they have too much talent on that roster to be sitting here at 6-6, unable to kind of claim that division after seeing the Eagles struggle all season. I mean, that's really – the NFC East is just a horrible division, to be honest. And the Cowboys, I think, have the better roster. It's the healthier roster, and for them to be where they are is a bad look for Jason Garrett. But you could see the Bills going in and winning that game. I mean, the Cowboys haven't beaten a team with a winning record all season. I know they were at home, but I think one of the stats that came out was Garrett has never won back-to-back Thanksgiving Day games, and they won last year. So you kind of figure, okay, if that trend holds, the Bills are going to go in and win. And I really like the Bills. I think they're playing very well. They were one of my picks in the preseason to make the playoffs as a wild card because the Patriots always win the AFC East. But I like the Bills. I really think Sean McDermott's doing a terrific job. I think he should be the coach of the year. Terrific job, and even in developing Josh Allen to the point where he has become a very good NFL quarterback, and you hope that progression continues. I like to see these young quarterbacks come in and have success, and Josh Allen's doing a very good job right now, and that defense is playing well, and I really like the Bills. I like what they're doing. I think that was a statement win for them. I think that can kind of jumpstart them into a playoff run that who knows where it could take them. But as far as Garrett goes, I think he's gone. I don't think the Cowboys can make the playoffs yet alone do any damage once they get there. But so I think Jason Garrett will finally be gone at the end of the year, and who knows who Jerry Jones will want to bring in, maybe a college coach, one of the hot college coaches in the country. So it'll be interesting if they do can him.
Nick Saban to the Cowboys. But Ed Kracz, beat writer for the Philadelphia Eagles, our official NFL contributor, SI.com. You guys get ready to go on the road down in South Florida against the Miami Dolphins. One would think on paper that this is one that you can check a box off and move on down the road. But as the Indianapolis Colts can attest to, not so fast. The Dolphins can win games. I certainly don't think they can beat the Eagles, but what's been going on in game prep this week with the Philadelphia Eagles?
Well, earlier in the week, me and a couple other reporters were trying to name like 5 guys on the Dolphins, and we really struggled to do it. I mean, it's just kind of a faceless, nameless bunch outside of obviously Ryan Fitzpatrick, and then there's a former Eagles cornerback, Eric Rowe, on that team. But you're right. I mean, there's no layup games really in the NFL, but if the Eagles can't beat the Dolphins, no matter where you play that game, then they don't deserve to win the NFC East, and they're still in the mix to win the NFC East. But if you can't take care of business against the Dolphins, then you don't deserve to make the playoffs, to be quite honest. And the big news this week, obviously, Lane Johnson became the highest paid offensive lineman in the league. The Eagles just gave him a contract extension that'll keep him in Philadelphia through 2025, paying him $72 million, 55 of it guaranteed. And 2 weeks ago, they extended right guard Brandon Brooks with a $54 million deal. So, the Eagles' philosophy has always been to build with that offensive line and that defensive line. A few years ago, they gave Fletcher Cox a $100 million contract. So that Eagles' right side of their offensive line, I mean, Brooks and Lane Johnson are probably 2 of the top 5 linemen in the league right now. And they're locked up to the right side. Their left side looks good. So that offensive line is really something that the Eagles are going to hang their hat on, which they always do, for these next few years. But that was really kind of the big news this game. The Eagles should go in. They're getting Alshon Jeffrey back, Nelson Aguilar back, their 2 receivers, so we can watch them drop some more passes, kind of like they've been doing all year. But Jordan Howard not being able to play for these last couple of weeks has hurt them too. The running back from Chicago who played with the Bears, he's had a shoulder stinger, something probably a little more serious than they're letting on, but he's questionable. I don't think he'll play. It'll be his 3rd straight miss. And, he was on pace for a 1,000-yard type of season. He had 7 touchdowns. So not having him in the lineup's kind of hurt. But, again, it's the Dolphins. They should win the game.
Adam, let's play the little homer card with me a little bit. The Indianapolis Colts host the Tennessee Titans. Historically, the Colts have been able to beat the Titans. The Titans are playing a little bit more healthy than the Colts. The Colts have got to. This is an absolute must-win for the Indianapolis Colts for this fight in the AFC South and the hunt for the wild card, because after Buffalo's win, there only is one wild card left, and who's it going to go to? And it needs to go to the Indianapolis Colts and not the Houston Texans. So the Titans come to town. I'll be at that game. Really excited about going there. I'll get there early, do some tailgating. I'm going to go as a fan and enjoy that game. But the Titans, man, you got to, for once, we sit back and we got to bite our nails a little bit, because this could be the one time the Titans could beat the Colts, and it couldn't come at a worse time. Adam?
Yeah, the thing that's hard with this Colts team is I know T.Y. was ruled out. They got a lot of injuries right now that they're dealing with. Ryan Tannehill is playing great for Tennessee. I think that's one of the most was one of the most undervalued moves was the Titans adding Tannehill. Because Tannehill showed he had talent, but Adam Gase clearly had no desire to work with him because Adam Gase